hey, my granddad was an A's fan, and you know, he used to go to Shibe Park and watch the A's play and saw like Connie Mack and you know, that whole thing, and Bobby Shantz, and it's really been cool to see that and kind of bring that back to life almost, because I do think they had been largely forgotten.
Right now, as it stands, the A's are slated to play in Sacramento and then move to Las Vegas next year. So we are fighting for them. We've been fighting for, at least personally, I've been fighting for them since 1998 to keep the A's in Oakland. And with this current regime, it just seems that they're doing nothing but bad things for the club.
Is your level of concern of Jose Alvarado? He's certainly not performing like he has, you know, the last couple seasons.
I'm Greg Murphy.
I'm Sam Stafford.
I'm Todd Zalecki.
This is Ruben Amaro.
I'm Jim Salisbury.
And I'm Joe Donnelly. Welcome to Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism.
How do they do that?
A vacation in Montgomery County, PA is so affordable, you might lose your cool.
Oh, geez. Don't worry about it. It's free.
Feel free to explore the soldiers' huts.
Free? Yes!
Parking is free!
Free!
It's free!
With so many affordable things in Montgomery County, go ahead. Freak out!
Philadelphia's favorite sports boutique and Wayne's favorite card store have joined forces to create an exciting new experience on the main line. Together, Shibe Vintage Sports and Wheelhouse Cards are offering fans a one-stop shop for throwback sports clothing, cards, memorabilia, and more, all the while supporting small community businesses. Be sure to check out their new locations in downtown Wayne, on Paoli Pike in Westchester, and online at shibesports.com.
Welcome back to Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. I'm Greg Murphy here in Minnesota at Target Field with the Phillies. You know, it's been a long time since the Oakland A's were the Philadelphia A's. And of course, during most of their tenure in Philadelphia, they were managed by the legendary Connie Mack. Well, the A's returned to Philadelphia recently, and it seemed like a perfect time for two sports history buffs to get together and celebrate their 10-year partnership of a business they started, Shibe Vintage Sports. All right, Johnny, well, here we are celebrating in the parking lot end right outside Citizens Bank Park, and there is a lot to celebrate because we're celebrating 10 years of Shibe Vintage Sports, and we're celebrating the return of the Oakland A's to town. And I know that the Oakland A's and you have a special connection to them through the business. Tell us how special it is to have the A's back in town.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw that the A's were going to be here, we knew we wanted this to be our 10th anniversary weekend. The A's have such a special place in Philadelphia sports history. Brian and I are both big sports history nerds, and we saw when they were coming to town, we were like, that's when we're going to throw the party. That's when we're going to hang out and have some fun. So we came out here. I mean, the A's are, you know, they were in Philly from 1901 to 1954, managed almost the entire time by Connie Mack, who's, you know, kind of a Philly icon, even though the team's left. And just having them back in town is really exciting.
Yeah, I wonder, how excited do fans get when they come into the stores or when they're talking with you about the Oakland A's? Because 1954, at this point, that's a long time ago, but I know that there is still that special connection.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say they're excited about the Oakland A's. They're excited about the Philadelphia A's.
Okay.
And the thing that's been really cool and I think really kind of fulfilling has been that since we started doing A's stuff, we get so many people that come in the store and are like, hey, my granddad was an A's fan. And you know, he used to go to Shibe Park and watch the A's play and saw like Connie Mack and, you know, that whole thing and Bobby Shantz. And it's really been cool to see that and kind of bring that back to life almost, because I do think they had been largely forgotten. And then we started doing this thing, and to be perfectly honest, it was because the Phillies stunk when we opened 10 years ago, and we said, hey, we gotta do something to get baseball fans excited, and so we said, hey, why don't we talk a little bit about the history of the A's, and it just struck a chord, and people just have been very receptive to it.
Yeah, if there's one thing we know about Philadelphia and Philadelphia sports fans is that it's handed down from generation to generation. So if you're a Philadelphia sports fan and your family's been here in Philly a long time, there's somebody in that family tree that was following the Philly A's.
Yeah, I mean, that's the magic that I think makes us work, is Philly's such a parochial town, and it's just a place where, you know, you've got that family connection to so many things, and, you know, people still, there's something, it's a historical town. I mean, we got the Liberty Bell, and we've got, you know, where the Constitution was written. Like, people care about history here. And they don't just care about American history, they care about sports history. And so we've really learned that. I mean, the fact that we're still here after 10 years, I think is testament to that.
All right, let's talk about that, because you are. Shibe Vintage Sports celebrating 10 years, your 10th year anniversary. You started with very meager, it was a meager start, right? Yeah. It was a modest start, I should say. And you've built it into 3 storefronts, perhaps more coming. It's a business, obviously a labor of love for you guys. Just tell us how it's grown over the years.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very, I will say it's been very organic. I think it's been a learning experience the whole time. Brian and I came into this without retail experience. So you want to talk about a couple guys that are winging it. But you know, that's the thing. That's the fun thing about doing creative stuff like this. You learn, you make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes, you get better, and you just keep doing it. And people have just been so supportive of us. And I think people saw that we weren't just a place that opened that tried to sell you a Phillies shirt, right? Like, we're a place that opened that we're diehard fans ourselves. We're here all the time. And I think that resonates with folks too. And if you come into the store, it's not just, we don't even care if you buy a shirt. Come in and talk baseball. You know, we always wanted it to be that place. It wasn't going to be a place that we were going to try to like push you into a sale. It wasn't going to be a place where it was going to be high intensity. It was a place where if you want to come in and chat about the Eagles game, let's talk about the upcoming Eagles game, you know? And then, oh, by the way, now that I'm here, hey, this is some cool stuff, you know? And then that's the way that we always wanted to operate it, and I think people have been very receptive to that.
In a lot of ways, it's like a retail museum, right?
Yeah.
You know, you get a chance to come in and share a little history, and then maybe take something back with you, whether it be apparel or some kind of memorabilia or stuff. And that's what I think makes you guys a little bit different and very special, is that all of the stuff in your store, whether it's old-time Philadelphia A's or old-time Philadelphia Phillies, or even this year's Philadelphia team, it has that vintage, that Shibe vintage feel to it.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a couple of cool little things in the store that maybe not everybody notices. On the wall, you can see like there's like a green baseball fence on the wall. That's the old vet fence. And that's part of the wall. And then there's a table in the middle of the store. That's the old Spectrum backboard.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's a very real history thing. Now, we've worked with the Philly Sports Hall of Fame, and they've loaned these things out to us, which is amazing. But like, there's definitely more to it than just selling a t-shirt. And I think that's what we've always been about. And I think that's what people have always sort of gravitated towards.
All right, so before we go and let you celebrate here your 10th anniversary at the tailgate, you can't have a tailgate without great apparel, right. And you can't have a tailgate without a great beer. And now you're launching your own pale ale as well.
That's right. So we launched this with Second District, which is a brewery down in South Philly. Kurt runs Second District, great guy, and he makes great beer. So he was the one that we contacted. And we're like, hey, we don't just want to make a beer, we want it to be tasty. And so we did that, and it's funny, so with the can, one of our artists that we've worked with a long time, John Billett, we said, what would a can of beer have looked like in Shibe Park in the 50s and 60s? So that was the inspiration behind the can. Like, what would we think? What do we imagine the concessionaire handing you 60 years ago? So we try to keep the history in it, even when we're doing something brand new. And yeah, we're real happy with how it turned out.
Johnny Goodtimes joining us here. Best of luck for the next 10 years of Shibe Vintage Sports.
That.
Yeah, it's a great piece of Philadelphia, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to the guys at Shibe Vintage Sports on their 10-year anniversary. Our show partner. All right, time now to throw it over to Philadelphia's preeminent quizmaster, and he's got some baseball trivia.
What nickname did Stan Hochman give the 1983 Phillies?
Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook. You love to play, you play to win, you bet Parks.
When you open the Bet Parks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the anticipation of another face card, the thrill of an extra spin, and the pure joy of a jackpot. It's all your favorite games at your fingertips. Plus, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
Phillies Nation is your source for breaking news, original analysis, trade insights, and more.
With credentialed access, our team of writers brings you first-hand accounts from your favorite players on today's team, minor league prospects of the future, and Phillies alumni from the past. Join our community and connect with hundreds of thousands of diehard fans through our social media, road trips, tailgate parties, and charity events. Don't miss a thing. Be sure to visit PhilliesNation.com every single day.
Welcome to This Week in Philly Baseball History, presented by Shibe Vintage Sports. This week in 2015, Cole Hamels threw a no-hitter in his final start with Philadelphia. The left-hander struck out 13 Chicago hitters in a 5-0 win at Wrigley Field. Hamels, Terry Mulholland, and Johnny Lush are the only Philadelphia left-handers to throw a no-hitter. Celebrate more Philly sports history with clothing from Shibe Vintage Sports, where there's a story in every stitch. Visit them at 13th and Walnut Streets or at shibesports.com.
What nickname did Stan Hochman give the 1983 Phillies? The 1950 Phillies were known as the Whiz Kids. Hochman called these old-timers the Wheeze Kids.
Welcome back to Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. I'm Greg Murphy. You know, the Oakland A's are on the move again. They're eventually going to end up in Las Vegas, or at least that's the plan. But it's not a done deal yet. And our Sam Stafford met somebody in Philadelphia who came from Oakland in hopes of keeping the team right where they are.
Okay, guys, I'm here with Jorge. Jorge, you're kind of like the leader of this group, and you guys came all the way here from Oakland.
Correct, yeah.
Now, explain the shirt that says sell.
Oh, it's a long story, but short story is we're asking the ownership currently for the Oakland A's to sell the team so we can keep the team in Oakland. There's been multiple interests in the Bay Area for local ownership to buy the team and keep them in Oakland. Right now, as it stands, the A's are slated to play in Sacramento and then move to Las Vegas next year. So we are fighting for them. We've been fighting for, at least personally, I've been fighting for them since 1998 to keep the A's in Oakland. And with this current regime, it just seems that they're doing nothing but bad things for the club. They let go of great players. They never re-sign anyone. They're one of the lowest budget teams in MLB, and it's one of the greatest franchises in the history of the game. As you know, they came from Philly, and they're third in all time in World Series, tied with the St. Louis Cardinals. But it's a shame what's going on. So we're asking ownership to sell the team. That's why we have these, and to keep them in Oakland.
Now, you did travel all the way here from Oakland. Have you guys been going city to city with the sell shirts? Has it kind of become a movement?
It has. Actually, it became a movement last year. We did a bunch of tours last year. We went to St. Louis, we went to Washington, D.C., Anaheim, Seattle. At the All-Star game, we chanted, sell the team. We did the reverse boycott last year. It was a Tuesday night, random night against the Rays, and we had over 30,000 people show up at the Coliseum. We packed that place to kind of say it's not our fault, it's the ownership's fault. So that became a whole movement in itself last year, and so now we're just kind of taking over this year as well. And we've been invited out here in Philadelphia from the Pandemic crew, and it's been an amazing ride, bittersweet, but we're trying to spread the information that it's not the fans' fault, it's the ownership.
We are a Philly located show, obviously. So for people that don't know, you do have the Los Angeles Dodgers, you have the Anaheim Ducks. How far would Oakland be? Do you think it's a problem of being too congested in that area?
So in California, the LA Dodgers and the Anaheim Angels are probably, 7 hours away from us. And
okay.
So it's pretty.
So it is a gap.
It is a gap, a
okay.
huge gap. And so then the Bay Area is the 10th largest market. And so you have the Giants there, the San Francisco Giants, and we're literally like 5 miles that separates the Giants and the A's. I think it creates a huge disadvantage for the market for the Giants. They're going to have a whole 10th largest market in the area. I don't know why MLB let that happen, but that's what's going to happen. And then the A's are moving to Las Vegas, which is the 42nd largest market in the nation. And so it's about public funds. The A's are getting public funds in Las Vegas. In Oakland, we can give them infrastructure, but we cannot give them public funding. I mean, we got to take care of our schools first. We got to take care of our biggest problems, which is schools, crime, our local staff, city leaders, police, and so I think that's what we put first there. In Las Vegas, it's a whole different story. They give them public money, so they're going over there.
Now we already mentioned it, have a little history between the Phillies and the A's. So is there anything that Phillies fans can do to help you guys out?
I think just I would say support our cause, the sell movement. It was never our fault, and we continue to fight for the team. Send letters to your ownership, which is John Middleton. Ask them to kind of reverse this thing, because they're going to play in Sacramento, and that was never voted upon. Las Vegas was, but the Sacramento move, it's 115 degrees right now in Sacramento. They're asking for AstroTurf. It's a AAA facility that's not adequate for Major League Baseball. So I would say, please, Phillies fans, join us in asking MLBPA and MLB to stop this mess. And follow the Oakland 68. So we're a supporters group, nonprofit, and we do a lot for our community there.
Now, if you do go to Vegas, are you still going to be a fan?
No. That's a huge no.
I had to ask.
No,
yeah. It is crushing. Okay, Jorge. Well, you guys heard it here. Go email, send letters, do everything you can, MLBPA, and help out the A's.
And now a crazy Philadelphia sports story.
You've probably seen the elephant on the Oakland A's uniform. And you might even know that elephant goes back to when the A's played in Philadelphia. But how did a team called the Athletics get a massive mammoth for a mascot? It's another crazy Philly sports story. In 1902, Hall of Fame manager John McGraw got hired as a skipper of the New York Giants. A reporter asked him about a brand new team, the Philadelphia A's, over on the junior circuit that was snagging some of the National League's best players. The fiery Irishman was never scared to say what he thought. The Philadelphia club will make no money, McGraw said. They've got a big white elephant on their hands. When the two teams met a couple of years later in the World Series, the A's, remembering the slight, cheekily presented John McGraw with a statue of an elephant before game number 1. McGraw took the prize in good humor. The A's would win the series, and the white elephant would be seen as a symbol of success. Soon after, the A's began utilizing the elephant on their uniforms, game programs, and warm-ups. By the 1920s, it had become an iconic emblem in the majors. And even now, over 120 years after John McGraw's flippant remark, and over 50 years since they settled on the West Coast, the white elephant remains a beloved symbol of the A's.
Parks Casino. This is how you win.
It's summer at Parks Casino, and the weather isn't the only thing that's hot. Slots are hot, table games are hot, sportsbook is hot, live entertainment and restaurants are sizzling hot. And check out the X Club. Join and instantly get $20 free slot play. Plus, we'll match your tiered card from another casino. It's time for some hot summer action at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. And now 100% smoke-free. Parks Casino, this is how you win.
A vacation in Montgomery County, PA is so affordable, you might lose your cool.
Oh, geez. Don't worry about it. It's free.
Feel free to explore the soldiers' huts.
Free? Yes!
Parking is free! Free! It's free!
With so many affordable things in Montgomery County, go ahead. Freak out!
From Octavius Cotto to Connie Mack to Edith Houghton, it's always been about more than baseball in Philadelphia. That's why, in the spirit of those pioneers, Shibe Vintage Sports is a proud supporter of the Anderson Monarchs youth baseball program in South Philly. We believe that it's important to honor the past and also invest in the future. You too can support youth baseball in Philly.
For every Philadelphia Stars shirt sold, a portion will be donated to the Anderson Monarchs.
Visit shibesports.com.
Welcome to Wheelhouse, Philadelphia's top sports card destination. I'm Geoff, and I'm here today at our Westchester location, and I'm going to go over some things to consider when you start collecting sports cards. So we get asked a lot. I'm just getting back into collecting. What's the best place to start? Whether you're a first-timer or someone that's found some old cards laying in your garage, we have some tips for you. Number 1, start slowly. This isn't the same hobby as when you're a kid. The products, the prices, the grading, they all take time to learn. Number 2, don't learn by watching social media. It's best to talk to other collectors or a hobby shop like Wheelhouse to help you make smart decisions. We talk with a lot of collectors who spent too much money early on because they bought into the hype and forgot to learn best practices. Number 3, collect what you're passionate about. If you're a baseball fan, learn through baseball cards first. If you have a favorite player, collect that favorite player. If you like tops, then collect tops. Bottom line, start with something easy and go from there. Remember, card collecting has evolved, and we want you to make smart decisions as you build your personal collection. So come by 7 days a week. Follow us on Instagram at Wheelhouse Cards or online at wheelhousecards.com. Go Phils!
Welcome back to Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. I'm Greg Murphy here in Minnesota. Time now on our show to check in with the guys from the Phillies Show podcast, Ruben Amaro Jr., Todd Zolecki, and Jim Salisbury, and find out what they're talking about this week.
Is your level of concern of Jose Alvarado? He's certainly not performing like he has, the last couple seasons.
Well, it is of some concern. There's no question about it because he goes in these ebbs and flows. Now, he can be the most dominant left-hander in the game and has been at times, especially last year. He really turned it around. And he had been dominant at times in the early part of this season after that slow start. But you just have to be a little bit concerned. I think at the end of the day, he's going to be fine. The trust factor, though, when you start talking about winning World Series championships, that's where, the rubber meets the road. And for me, I love Jose Alvarado. I love what he brings to the table. I love his stuff. But at the end of the day, can you trust him to get the last couple of outs of the game? Can you trust Hoffman to get the last couple of outs or 3 outs of the game? And I think you can trust him to get some outs, but it may not come all the time. And so that's why I feel like, they probably would really benefit. And I think it is a necessity for them to add a 8th or 9th inning guy or a well-trusted veteran guy to get outs in the back end of the bullpen. Kerkering's thrown okay, but he is vulnerable right now because he's not throwing his sinker and his fastball as consistently, and the sweeper they're sitting on. And so they're having some success against him. Hoffman's been great. Strom got banged around a little bit, but everybody, it didn't matter who was coming in against O'Neal Cruz. That man was just hot as hell. And so you could throw in the kitchen sink at him and it wouldn't have mattered. But again, I really think it's all about, at the end of the day, when you're talking about winning series and winning championships, you got to have as many arms that you can trust back there as you possibly can if you do not have a bona fide, nailed, knockdown closer, and they don't have that guy.
Yeah, I'll say this about Alvarado because you brought him up. It was good to see him get out of Pittsburgh with a good outing because Friday night was very difficult. The whole month, really. The whole season, he has not been as sharp as we've seen him in previous years. I think the stuff is just a tick different, not as good. Still very good, but not like double plus very good. Mm-hmm. It's concerning the strikeout rate is not what it has been in previous years. But in the small picture here, this month, just not throwing enough strikes. Walking as many as he has struck out, putting give out those free passes, they turn into runs. We saw it with Alvarado. We saw it with Strom in this series. It was really a difference maker in Pittsburgh. So I do believe that when you're talking about elite athletes, they will have ups and downs. And sometimes you're just one good game from going on your next really good run, be a hitter or a pitcher. So maybe Sunday afternoon's game in Pittsburgh where, he did have that slider sweeper back and it was down and he was getting some swing and miss on it. He was getting some strikeouts. So that was good. Maybe that is something, he can build on. But even before his struggles, I thought this team needed another arm out there in the bullpen late in the game. Kind of Ruben alluded to this with the word trust. Somebody who's been there in the month of October. Somebody who's done that because October is such a different beast. And, these guys have been there in October now. Alvarado, Strom, those guys. So that experience they've gained over the last 2 years will definitely help them. But I think they need another arm late in the game. And I think Dave Dombrowski's going to deliver on that. Not sure where he's going to go, who it's going to be, but I think Dombrowski's going to deliver on that.
Yeah.
The other thing, the only thing I will say about the Alvarado thing is it's really about his command. And I'm not sure if he's trusting his stuff as much because the stuff is not quite, it's just a tick down, as Jim said. And so when you trust your stuff, you have a lot more confidence in placing the pitch where you want to. He's really been able to pound over the years. He's been able to pound those right-handers in with that fastball cutter combination. That command right now has eluded him, and he hasn't really had the ability to do that as consistently as he's done in the past.
If they would go out and get another closer, late inning closer, you can match up Alvarado more in the earlier innings, 6th, 7th inning, 8th inning against lefty bats. He's been still effective against, especially against lefty bats, but that's something that they could do if they go out and get another arm.
For more Phillies analysis and interviews, subscribe to The Phillies Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcasts. Welcome back to Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. I'm Greg Murphy here in Minnesota. And what a great show. We had a chance to celebrate a time when our city had 2 professional baseball teams, both the Phillies and the A's. And congratulations to the guys at Shibe Vintage Sports as well on their 10-year anniversary. Sam, what do we have coming up next?
Thanks, Greg. Next week, we will talk to Monet Davis, who many people will remember as the first female to win and throw a shutout in the Little League World Series back in 2014. We'll see what she's up to today and more. For Greg Murphy, I'm Sam Stafford, and we'll see you next week.